I
Da,
am
da, da.
here.
There she is. There she is.
Yes, here we
Yes,
are.
yes, yes. There she is. Right. So Regina is, I don't know if I have enough words in the English language to describe this wonderful lady, but this lady is a very amazing dancer. She loves to dance. She is an amazing career trailblazer. She discovered early on in her career that she actually could make a lot more money. And of course, when we go back in the years, there's a sexist environment there that women are not getting paid as much as guys. That's still the case today. It's closed the gap a little bit, but now Regina is a trailblazer in helping you get what you're worth and more, and helping you with a framework to become a thriving leader. Over to you, Regina.
Thank you so much, Marco, for having me on today. I'm delighted to be here with you and all the other phenomenal speakers, and of course, everyone watching. I know all the speakers in these 3 days have poured their hearts into this. And I usually put my heart into all my projects too. My projects as an employee and later as a business owner in Argentina, Brazil, and now the US. And sometimes these projects worked out and at other times they didn't. And I've learned that, yes, it is about passion. Success is about passion and putting in the work. But it's also about taking risks and about learning our lessons along the way. And it's about staying true to ourselves, exploring our potential, our unique brilliance, and confirming our values. One of my core values being freedom. And one of my greatest lessons being that safety is the enemy of success. So to kick this session off, if it's okay with you all, I want to tell you a story about risk, adventure, and freedom. I hope that's okay with everybody. I grew up on a small farm in Germany in a little village. And as a little girl, I was extremely shy. So shy, I would lock myself up in my room to not have to go to kindergarten. But somewhere deep inside of me, there was always this adventurous spirit. And so on some rainy Sunday afternoons, I would sit in my room and I would be looking at an old globe and I would be dreaming about places like Italy, Brazil, Cameroon, New York City, and what life would be like in those places. And what's really, really amazing is that actually I got to travel to all these places and many, many more. And I've lived on 4 continents, in 7 countries on 4 continents, and I've worked on 5 continents. It's almost as if that old globe was my vision board back then. But back then, I also still lived on a farm. And we, as a family, we never traveled during vacations. Most of all because my parents never had a vacation. So at the age of 16, I decided to take my travel plans in my own hands. And I hitchhiked all the way from my little village in southeastern Germany to Amsterdam. And I did that with a friend. She was 18 at the time. We had 5 days and we spent 3 of those 5 days on the road, mostly on trucks. I didn't think about the risk. All I knew was I wanted to see a piece of the world. So after finishing school, I moved to Munich, and from there I moved abroad for the first time to Spain with a job at the Boston Consulting Group, BCG. And later I opened offices for BCG in Portugal and in Brazil. And I also had a leadership role with BCG in San Francisco in the US. But I didn't always move to a new country with a job. Sometimes I moved to a whole new continent with just a dream in my pocket. Like in 2005, when I left my leadership role at BCG in San Francisco and I packed up and I flew down to Argentina to open a bed and breakfast in Buenos Aires. I quickly found a house for it, but buying it was a little more adventurous than I first thought. In Argentina, you pay for real estate in cash, at least at the time. So imagine this, you're sitting around a meeting table in a meeting room at a bank, and you literally count the dollars. Meaning I had to transport my cash to the seller's bank. And it wasn't recommended to take a cab just outside the bank because there had been some incidents with taxi drivers who had robbed their customers. And I didn't have a car at the time. So on a hot summer day in Buenos Aires, I found myself carrying several $100,000 from one bank to the other in my socks. One wrong move, and all my savings could have been gone. I figured that when we want something really, really bad, we sometimes got to take a risk. Now, I'm not asking you to risk your savings, of course. That's not what I'm here to do today. I'm not asking you to risk your savings at all. The risk I invite you to take today is to fully step into your unique brilliance, to really step forward with your greatness and genius and into the spotlight with it. As a bold leader who courageously leads self and others, whether others for you is your team, your community, or your audience, your clients. I invite you to risk and rise, to unleash your leadership brilliance and become a thriving leader. Not a stressed out leader, a thriving leader. Are you up for that? Type yes in the chat if you are. Okay, great. Now, if that's the case, then I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine what it would be like for you if you could truly own, embrace, and show your brilliance in all its magnificence. If you no longer were holding back in any way, if you could embody your greatness so we could literally see it shine through you. If everyone around you and everyone you work with or want to work with could see it too. Your manager, your team, your clients, your audience, whoever that is for you. What would that look like for you? What would the success be that you would be enjoying if you were just, I call it boldly brilliant? What would that feel like? What would be possible for you? And open your eyes if they were closed. Did you like this vision? Did you like what you just envisioned? Well, it can be your reality. But for this to happen, you gotta embody this brilliance and really fully embrace it. Let it shine through you. You gotta show up with it, not just talk about it. And for that to happen, you first need to be clear on what it is. You have to know it, own it, show it. So in my work with my clients, we work a lot on presence, and I help them bring out their distinctive uniqueness, as I call it. I have them craft lists of what I call their unique assets. I call these unique assets because some of these are worth gold. And when you apply your unique assets, then they lead to more money in your bank account and to more fulfillment in your career. Somebody's saying, I agree. Yes, yes, absolutely. Now, what are these unique assets? What are your unique assets? They are your unique qualities, your talents and skills, your strengths, your competencies, your passions, your values, your transformative stories and the wisdom you gain through those, your experience, your expertise, your knowledge, your studies, your accomplishments, all of this, and how it all fits into this unique package that you are, and that sets you apart from everyone else. Now, there are currently about 8 billion people on this planet, and no one has your DNA. No one has your potential. And you bet there's a reason for that. So on a piece of paper or on your phone, if you prefer, make a list of 5 unique assets, 5 things about you that distinguish you, that make you stand out, 5 things that you or other people value in you. And I'm going to give you 10 seconds for that. So I'm going to shut up for 10 seconds, write those down, and feel free to share them in the chat, of course. I'd love to see those. Even if it's 3, share them. This is a possibility for you to step into the spotlight right now, right here. Are we having any unique assets in the chat? Do you have your list? Well, this should have been really, really easy. But if it wasn't, then you know what to do after this session, right? You know what to do then. What you do after this session is you sit down, reflect on this, and journal on this. I see some in the chat now. It's popping up. Boldly honest, pure-hearted. I love it. I love it. Pure-hearted. Let me go up again. Okay. I cannot lie. I don't quit. I love it. Amy. Great. Beautiful. Of course. Yes. Passion for storytelling, natural at healing others with my presence, empathy, and intuition. Wonderful. My work rate is unmatched. Love it. Photographer, filmmaker, author, great coach, caring to students. What a beautiful package. This is how it all fits together. This is a part of your distinctive uniqueness. Your distinctive uniqueness has two sides of the coin, right? It has our unique brilliance on the one side, and then it has our shortcomings or areas to improve on the other side. And this, what we're talking about right now, is your unique brilliance. Your unique assets are being a great listener. My unique assets, sorry, are being a great listener and able to reflect back to those I work with what they need to hear compassionate. Wonderful. This is beautiful. So let's move on with this, right? So you certainly are invited to keep journaling on those unique assets. I asked you for 5, but I know you have so many more. Because you cannot own and show your value if you don't know it, if you don't know what it is. And by the way, if you have a team, I encourage you to ask them about their 5 unique assets too. You may just uncover some precious talents and skills that you weren't even aware of, some gems in your team that you had no idea about, of which you didn't even know they existed in your team, and that might be actually very valuable for your projects. Okay, so now I want you to thrive as a leader. I said that earlier, right? So allow me to give you a tiny little taste of my Thriving Leader formula. That's a proprietary framework I've created because I wanted leaders like you to thrive in all areas of leadership, including leadership of self. And this is what it looks like. There are more comments in the chat. Great organizer, natural leader, love it. Passionate, fired up, full of love, energy, caring, compassion driven, authentic, committed, knowledge driven, light up the room. Wonderful. Keep them coming, right? So let me share a piece of my Thriving Leader formula with you right now. The Thriving Leader formula, thriving, the T in thriving stands for transform your career and leadership goals, or your business and leadership goals, right? Into a powerful, appealing vision that you are excited to implement. Very, very important. You got to be really enthusiastic about it. H, harness your strengths and potential in new ways to open unexpected possibility for your own performance and success, as well as that of your team. R, raise and uplevel your leadership of self to automatically strengthen your leadership of others. All leadership starts with self, or it is bound to fail, because there's no sustainably successful leadership without leading yourself first. I, ignite your leader presence. Love to read all of yours, uniqueness, lovely ones. Yes, absolutely, Elizabeth. Thanks for this comment. Where were we? Ignite your leader presence to enhance your charisma and visibility, and consequently also your influence and impact. V, verbalize effectively, building trust with all stakeholders and using conversational intelligence, CIQ. This is a specific modality that I use in my work, conversational intelligence. And we use this to build trust and to get our message across. So this is about building trust with everybody you work with or come in touch with in your business, in your career, and using conversational intelligence to have fruitful meetings, even with difficult team members or colleagues. Verbalizing effectively is about getting your message across in any situation and greater trust through better verbal communication will give your team unshakable confidence and maximize their creativity. When you have trust in your team, everything becomes smoother, including creativity and productivity, okay? I incentivize consistent team management to bring out the best in every single team member without having to micromanage. Very important. And if you don't have a team, then incentivize your clients, your audience. You can incentivize them too to bring out their best selves, right? And negotiate successfully to get the results you want. This, of course, includes negotiating for yourself, like for a salary increase, a promotion, or if you're a business owner, for maybe in a business partnership, in negotiating a great agreement, negotiating with your clients. G stands for gain command over your schedule through habits that minimize stress. This is about navigating your priorities, effectively managing responsibilities, being strategic about what tasks you take on in your job and which to delegate. And also as a business owner, which tasks do you need to delegate? And in this way, you will also reduce stress for yourself and those around you, because they will benefit too when you are less stressed out, including your family, of course. And behind each of these letters, there's a treasure of knowledge and wisdom. It's my holistic approach to transformational leadership coaching. Now, I have a question for you. In this framework, if you look at this framework, right, what's the missing piece for you? As we were going through this, what stood out for you that's missing for you? Which are the elements that you've just seen that you haven't quite integrated yet? Think about that. So we can, of course, not cover the entire framework here today, but if you want to get a custom-made taste of what this could look like for you, and you are committed to your leadership and your success, just quickly, how many of you are committed to your success? Type a C in the chat if you are. How many of you are committed to your success? Curious. Type a C. Yes, I'm seeing some C's. Great. And I'm assuming a lot of other people are too. I know that a lot of you cannot actually type in the chat right now, and I appreciate you listening and watching as well. You're probably just thinking, yes, I am committed, right? C or O for obsessed. I love it, Amy. All right. So if you're truly committed or obsessed, we have somebody else here in the chat. Let me check. Yes, absolutely. So okay, G, somebody says G. Okay, does that stand for greatly committed or for, might be, you might have intended a C, but happy to read what you intended if you want to share with us, Sam. Anyway, so if you are truly committed and okay, let me check again. Another one. Okay, see, okay, all right. Sam, thanks for clarifying. All right. And so if you're truly committed, then I'm offering you a one-on-one complimentary success strategy session with me. It's valued at $750, and you can have it absolutely for free, but only here and today, and if you're committed. And I promise you, you will walk away transformed from this 60-minute coaching session. An event like today is great for inspirational purposes, but we can, of course, only scratch the surface. And in your one-on-one session, we'll dive deep into your success potential. We'll also work on what you need the most right now to be successful. If you want this free session and commit to showing up, if you commit to showing up once you booked it, then get your phone out and scan the QR code right now. Or you could also just simply copy the link. It's transformyourperformance.com/success strategy. And yes, these are 3 S's because it's success strategy. Without the www, important, right? So if you're copying it, transformyourperformance.com/success strategy. Right. There are a few questions in the booking form that I want you to answer before our session so we can make the most out of our time together and make it most meaningful for you. And it's really, really quick to answer them. And if you don't, I might just cancel your call, because if you cannot invest 1 or 2 minutes of your time to answer these questions, then I'm not willing to invest an hour in our session. But if you're truly ready to show up for yourself and to answer those questions, then I'll be super delighted to support you, and I will see you there. Now, I do think that we have a few minutes left for potential questions, and I also want to check on the chat again. So if you have any questions, that is your opportunity right now to get your most burning questions answered. And you can just put them in the chat, actually. No need to use the question and answer. Or you could put them in there too. Any questions? Has this been useful? How do I ask my boss for a pay rise? Very cool question. Yes, there are many, many elements involved in this. It all starts with mindset. That's why I have created an entire course, an online course around salary negotiations. And of course, I work with my one-on-one clients as well on this topic. It all starts with mindset. First of all, we talked today about you got to own your value. We hear this all the time, but how can we own it if we're not fully aware of what it really is? That's why I'm insisting you got to know it first and do the work to know it. And then it's going to be automatically already easier for you to own your value, to show up more confidently. Another really good trick is to define the number you want to ask for and to practice it in front of a mirror. Write it down. Own your value and own the number. And always go a little higher. And actually, you could go also substantially higher. That's up to you. But always go higher than what you want to ask for, what you want to get out of it, so that you have a second number to fall back on, which would be your minimum acceptable. Of course, there is a slight possibility, even if you're really well prepared, that you might not get that salary increase, in which case the minimum acceptable then would potentially prompt you to look elsewhere, outside of your organization or outside of your team, or whatever that looks like for you. So it's really, really dependent on your specific situation, but always practice this number. The highest number is what you practice. And the second one you just have in your mind, so that you know what you will accept. And you don't have to say that in the first meeting. Okay, you can always follow up around that. Elizabeth is saying, thanks, Regina. This is so valuable. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I'm glad. And did I answer this question for you? There's so much more to salary negotiations. It's also about positioning the value that you bring to the table. How can you do that powerfully? How to potentially, if you have to, up-level your business presence, your leader presence, how you show up in your meeting. There is always more money in the follow-up. So sometimes when we don't get the increase right away, we definitely want to follow up. I've seen this over and over with my clients, that those who followed up actually then got a pay rise maybe 3 months later. There's a lot to this. Overcoming objections is another one. Reach out anytime and we can chat more about this. Okay, how can we access your course? Yes, absolutely. I will quickly grab that link and put it in the chat. It is, just gonna quickly grab it here. Okay. It is called the Dream Salary Course, and this is the page. And I actually have a special. So if you grab this course, online course, in the next few days, you will also get an additional one-on-one session. As I said before, that session alone is valued at a higher rate than the entire course. So you definitely want to take advantage of that if this is something you're looking at. Any other questions? Sam says very useful. Thank you so much, Sam. Amy, very useful. Yes, very useful film producers. Okay, I needed this, says Amy, thank you. And by the way, you know, it's also important to realize that salary negotiations are different to any other negotiations. Or I should say, negotiating for yourself is different to negotiating for others. Maybe you are an employee and you are a salesperson as an employee. It's always so much easier, isn't it, to negotiate for the company you work for? And there are specific reasons for that. We cannot go into all the details today, but I've really done some deep research and thinking around this, and it's all in my course. All right. Okay. Well, I think that's it for the questions. Oh no, here you go. There's another question. One more question. Do we have time for that or not?
Well, actually, I can answer that myself, and you can answer part of it, because Grantify is actually a third-party broker to get grants. It is not a grant supplier. What they do is they help you write the grant. So it's not actually them giving the grant. If you want to carry on with that, Regina. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So there are several different organizations who can help you find a grant. They're also online. There are also some online databases for grants, and I haven't been on this topic recently too much, but you can certainly find those. Okay, I know in New York there's an organization, and in Brooklyn as well, where you can actually literally go there in person and look up materials and also what grants have been successful in the past. I would have to look that up again for you if you want that. So feel free to reach out to regina@transformyourperformance.com, and I'll answer your question that way. Thank you, Regina. That was an amazing presentation. Really, really useful.